Hey guys, welcome to Limit Break Lifestyle TV, and today we've got a very special guest, all the way from, was it California, Rob?
San
San
Diego,
Diego.
California.
San Diego, California. I just wanted to double check that one. But I'm really privileged to have Dr. Rob Garcia with me today. He is the CEO of Shift Advanced Life Design magazine, and he is also a performance coach for teaching teens and adults how to learn and perform at their highest potential. So for those that know, what we do at Limit Break Lifestyle is helping leaders win more in life. Now, this is exactly why we've got people like Dr. Rob Garcia on board, because he is also someone who's been featured on San Diego Living News show, Fox Morning News, and 17 plus podcasters, and many other features that he hasn't listed so far because there's so many. But he is an expert in helping people become expert fast, how to finish projects in half the time, tapping into their genius mindset, and how to learn with lightning speed. This is something that helps leaders win more, right? These are all skill sets that are essential for leaders to step up. And there's more like how to create a mindset of confidence and success, and how to speed learn anything. Now, leaders, we're usually so busy, we're so time conscious about how we use our time. We rarely, when we read books and stuff, if we can read it fast, learn fast, and implement it fast, that's exactly what would love to learn more about. So, I'm privileged to have Dr. Rob Garcia with us today. Thank you.
Thanks,
So,
Jono. Very glad to be here.
so Rob, let's get started by introducing yourself a bit about your background first, so the audience gets to know who you are and how did you choose to become where you are today. So, a bit of background where you started and.
Yeah, absolutely. I grew up in a small logging town called Eureka, California, and I had a very rough childhood. A lot of drugs and crime in the family, and to top it off, I had a learning disability that was pretty severe. I couldn't pay attention in class, and I couldn't really understand the stuff that was being presented to me, especially in math classes. I ended up my ninth grade report card was straight D's and F's. I ended up failing out of high school, going back, getting my credits, and then I failed out of the next two colleges I went to academically, and then I almost failed. I joined the Air Force, and I almost failed out of my initial Air Force classes when they were training me. And so I've always had this struggle and this internal concept that I think a lot of people can relate to about feeling stupid and feeling like there was something wrong with me, or that I didn't have the mental capacity to ever be smart, ever be successful. And I carried this with me for a long time. And then when I got to my late 20s, early 30s, I read a couple books that really changed my mind about the way that our brains work and the way that our learning styles work. And that's what really got me onto the concept of advanced learning. I realized that I learned better when I could draw things out, when I used colors, and when I could create a sequence or a diagram of something. That's when the learning really took place. And once I started doing that, I finished grad school. I enrolled in my doctorate. I focused on project-based learning and advanced learning styles, and I finished the program. Today, I am a 6th-degree EDD, 8-time author, magazine owner, and been on Fox News, speaker. And like you said, I'm a performance coach. I teach people how to become experts using the tactics of speed learning. And I've just recently released a book on it, which we'll talk about a little later. But so yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
Wow, that's amazing. And you briefly talked to me about you had learning disabilities. So tell us more
Yeah,
about that.
I never took my SATs. I've always done very poorly in standardized tests. Um, And basically, I had a lot of trouble understanding the connections with math because I couldn't see the relevance of it. I love it these days. I study it like crazy because it actually applies to stuff that I do. But yeah, I had trouble focusing on anything that I couldn't really comprehend or grasp. I tune it out very fast, and it's just because I have an active mind that searches for some type of really like something else that's engaging and stimulating. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. So, what really what was the shift in you that you decided to go, I'm going to become an author, I'm going to become a performance coach, I'm going to be a CEO of a magazine? Like, what was the shift that helped you to choose that?
I love that you asked this because it really was doing, and this is what I think a lot of your audience is going to benefit from. It was sitting down and doing a skills assessment. I realized that I'm very bad with graphic design. I'm not the greatest math person. I'm very, very good at writing, and I'm very, very good at connecting with people. And because of the amount that I read a ton. And because of the amount that I read, I'm able to, just like when you get a doctorate, you combine a lot of information together and make a finished original product. And that's what I was able to do. And that's just the natural ascension. So I said, hey, I'm gonna teach myself how to publish a book. I'm going to write this book. And the books, as I kept writing them, the effects kept getting better. And what I mean by that is the second book I wrote was a teen book. That got me on the news. And then the book after that got me a speaking gig in a charter school. And the book after that, got me on Fox News. Like all these different books and ebooks kept creating this ladder approach where I started becoming viewed as an expert in speed learning. And that was the natural progression.
Wow. And you also mentioned you was in the Air Force as well.
Yeah, I'm still in. I'm a reservist. I'm a master sergeant.
Oh wow, you're still in it.
Yeah, still in the game. So that's why I'm a reservist. So that's why I have the facial hair.
How do you manage your time between servicing in different countries? I'm assuming as well. And you still have time to become an expert in learning and teaching other people, and now actually serving other people who wants to learn more.
It's just prioritization. Being a reservist gives me that time to focus on my main my entrepreneurial stuff and media appearances and things. So it's just like anything. Decide what comes first, decide what's most important, and then work with it with your scheduling.
Wow. So why a coach? Why did you start writing books even? Why did you choose to do that? Because people in service, they mainly just go out and get a job or do something most people would do. So it's very rarely they become a entrepreneur or choose to become an entrepreneur or become an author.
Yeah, it really is based off my personality type and my learning style because I take day jobs once in a while, but honestly, like I really like working for myself. I really like the reason I got into coaching and advising people was because so many people were coming to me with questions. They wanted to know about their love life. They wanted to do better at learning in school. They wanted to know, what was going to help them get a better job. They just asked me a lot of random questions, and I always had the answers. And I thought, you know what, I need to go into coaching and actually make some money off this. Just giving advice to everybody for free, and I need to really niche it down.
Wow. So your audience now, are they more individuals who want to be leaders in their lives, or are they leaders already who wants to win more, like my audience right now?
It's both. It's people that are at the lower levels of business that are just starting off, that just need some guidance and clarity. And I create these really high-level strategies for them that are easy to use. And then it's also people that are up here. Maybe they're just tipping 6 figures in their business. They need to know how to make that jump from 6 to 7 figures. So what I do is I just reverse engineer 7 people, 10 people that have done it, and I look for patterns. I look for commonalities. What are they doing? Usually it's paid membership sites. Usually it's getting on a giant podcast like John Lee Dumas or Lewis House. They have, but people that make 7 figures have certain habits that they do, and they manage a lot of people. So that's how I take somebody that's at 6 figures and I say, okay, This is what you need to do to jump to 7 figures. So, yeah.
You make it sound so simple.
At times it is, Jono, and it really, these people, a lot of them are very good at business, but they don't have time. They're running their businesses. They don't have time to do what I do, which is the research and the reverse engineering and the gathering of data. Like that's why they come to me and they work with me, because I'm that guy. I can sit down for 5 hours and find out what makes a 7-figure person, you know?
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And let's talk about your expertise, right? In terms of learning and helping people. What do you mean by tapping into your genius mindset? That's something that's really related to what we do in the super consciousness realm. We use genius as the way of following your heart or listening to your soul, right? So what's your perception of the whole genius mindset?
You're talking about the metaphysical and spiritual, which is interesting. I think that's a big part of it as well. I deal in the actual physical acts that can stimulate the best parts of the cognitive processes of your brain. I'm going to grab something real quick.
Cool.
I'll show you. So this is actually a diagram I made, a PDF, and it's called Unlock Your Genius with Dr. Rob.
Wow.
I made this on Canva. And basically, it's these steps for unlocking your genius parts of your brain. So just without going through the whole thing, I always encourage people, it's about creating a state. And that state can be stimulated by a couple things. I always recommend intermittent fasting, to where you only eat 8 hours in a day. Because as you start to get in the early stages of starvation, your body goes into survival mode, and you actually become more attenuated and attuned to your environment, your surroundings, and you start thinking very clearly. So that's the first thing. So I haven't even eaten today, and it's 2:23 p.m. here in the States. Because I've been so focused on my work, but I'm also in a zone. So next, I say start with exercise early. You want to get it right when your hormones and your testosterone, if you're a guy, are at peak performances. I ran 3 miles this morning, and I did the gym for about 45 minutes. So I'm in a really good creative state right now. My brain's really open. And then using cold showers, I do that as well. I take cold showers every single day. Every day. Yeah. And I take, on days I exercise, I take 2 or 3, and they work, because once again, this is stacking and putting your body in survival mode. And then one thing that a lot of people do, they use smells. They use essential oils. They use peppermint. They use lemon. And smells, the olfactory has effects on your brain. I highly recommend peppermint. Wow. So if you combine these things, Jono, you can put yourself in an incredible mental state. Cold showers, exercise, intermittent fasting, using smells, and then to top it off, I use Joe Rogan's Alpha Brain product, which is all natural. And I'm telling you, man, it just, you wonder how I can get all this stuff done. I've written and published a book in 6 hours. It's because of these techniques.
Wow. Now that is skills and habit. I think that's a lifestyle change, isn't it?
It's a very drastic one, and not everyone's ready to, they want to dip their toe in the water. They're not ready to completely commit. But I'm telling you, man, it's had drastic effects on my lifestyle in a positive and great way. And I think everyone should use this.
Because it's very similar to what Tony Robbins does as well, about doing ice cold showers or ice cold bath. He does ice cold baths or whatever.
Yeah,
closest, right?
I'm definitely going to try that in the future. I'm very excited about cold treatments. I think they're amazing.
Something that I'll probably start looking into. I've started to do intermittent fasting as well in part of my diet, in what I used, and it's quite interesting because it feels like the body's on it's on the cleanse. We know it's on the cleanse, but there was time where I felt like woozy. It was like, whoa, like my energy levels were there, but it was like I couldn't do anything physically fast or something like that. Or I could do a workout in the morning, first thing, get the workout in, and then rest of the day is like being really slow.
Yeah, you've got to really monitor the hours to your circadian rhythms. Usually do mine I usually eat at 11 or 12, do my exercise early in the morning, and then I eat a bigger meal later on in the day. But it's definitely something you got to check your energy levels. You got to see if it's affecting you in any weird ways.
Yeah, there was times where I was like, ooh, I need to take it slow. Just even walking down the stairs to get some water or something. It's just like, just pace myself. So that's interesting. I'm quite intrigued about that one. Something I'll look into as well. So what was the challenges that you had when you first started out from? Because you said in a bit of your story is that you couldn't afford meat at one point where you was at your lowest point. Now, what was that shift that you had to get you to become where you are, really?
I didn't have tremendous intellectual growth till I hit San Diego, and even in the Air Force, I was a mediocre airman. I wasn't nearly. If I could go back, I would be like an award winner. Like these days, reserves, I do well. I was Airman of the Year in 2007. Like I've done some pretty cool stuff. I mean, I don't like to brag, but the mindset definitely changed when I left the Air Force. That in between time when I became a civilian at 26. And between, I'd say, 26 and 32, I started I read some Tony Robbins. I started getting into a little more self-development. I started realizing that I had a pretty crazy story, and a lot of people out there could benefit from hearing it. And the journey and the stuff I've done. And as I grew and as I finished my MBA and I got more into the doctoral stuff, I started to gain more what I call intellectual confidence. I started realizing you are smart enough to do this. You are, you're going to have to adjust your learning style, but you have what it takes to get through this. And my program for the doctorate, 50% dropout rate. It just destroys people. It took me 6.5 years, and it's sacrifice and depression, giving up your relationships, no vacations. Unbelievable amounts of mental temerity you need to pull from yourself, and that's what made me tough when I emerged.
Yeah, because I think when I first got in contact with you, it was back in December last year, and I've seen your journey as well. I've been like observing and watching what you do and loving what you do, and then there was times where you was going through some challenges as well. I can't remember what it was, but there was things that you said you was like struggling with or adjusting time or things like that. How did you get through those tough times? Like, what was the tool or strategy you used to pull yourself out of that state to focus back on, to get yourself back on track? Because so many people, they dwell on like the past stuff, or they dwell on the failures or the rejections, whatever they go through, right? And they stay in this stump for ages. What was your method of pulling yourself out of it?
Yeah, you're talking about the victim mindset.
Yeah.
And for a long time, I carried that with me. I still have a lot of family stuff in my head. Growing up really poor. I went to school in like moldy clothes. Like I had a tough go of it. And so basically the way that I came past that, because just like any business person, any entrepreneur, I've ridden the roller coaster of failure, and I've had launches that had like zero sales. I've released books and nobody cared. I've done Facebook ad campaigns and nobody clicked on it. So I want everyone to know that failure is normal, but you cannot quit. And the best way that I have rebuilt myself and created that success for myself, I looked at what I did. I looked at somebody that's done it better, and then I said, okay, what are they doing that I'm not? What resources are they doing? Who's an expert in this field? Who can train me? Do I need to hire a coach? And by doing this, I got better and better and better at what I did, and I started up leveling my image a little more. I started doing a lot more branded photography for my stuff. I just released a new website. I did it myself. It cost me like $100, and it's not the greatest website in the world, but it's a step. It's to where I have something centralized to where I can send people, and that's really my focus. So basically, I'm turning slowly but surely. I'm turning the Dr. Rob brand into a luxury brand, and I'm getting there. And my results are getting a lot better. The testimonials are about to get ridiculous. I don't want to get into them, but I'm doing beta right now, and the results are unfreaking real.
That's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Did you go to UPW as well for Tony Robbins then?
I just read the book. I didn't. I've never been to an actual event, and I hear they're amazing.
Yeah.
Have you ever went into one?
My first one was back in 2012, and then ever since then, I've been a part of the team as the crew.
Yeah.
So I was the past 2 or 3 years. I was part of the fire team. That actually to build that actual fire that you walk across. I've been that team in UK, in London. So definitely get yourself onto that one.
I love it. Yeah, that sounds cool. I've been to a couple of events, and I gotta tell you, man, there's for people that are wondering, like, you need to go to events. You need to get out there and meet people. And
oh yeah.
The last event I went to, somebody hired me like the last day. It was incredible, and I wasn't even like a speaker or a coach. I was just helping out with audio, video, but people need to get out of their shell, and that's one of the things they can do is just network and meet new people.
Well, that's what leaders do is networking and just meeting new like-minded individuals, like-minded leaders who wants to win more, who wants to succeed more, who wants to do better more in life, right? Just be more to get more.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me flip the script a little bit. Let me ask you, what is your goal for 2017? What are you working towards?
Well, we're working towards hitting our 50K mark in profit in the business, of course. But we're also looking to probably do at least be on another 8 stages, speaking gigs. Not the hardest, but there's just for us, we're still growing, we're still finding our feet as becoming a speaker, better speakers, getting our message out there, becoming better leaders to help leaders win more, but also growing our own community of leaders, a community of leaders who really, really want to get more out of their lives. So we'll be running another 2 or 3 workshops as well, 2 or 3 day advanced workshops. So there's a lot going on before now and year end, which is only about 6 months.
Yeah, so it's good you have very specific metrics in mind. So when I work with somebody and I make them an expert, I sit down and I have them define what their metric is. But what I mean by metric is what is their tangible, quantifiable goal. So you're saying like 50,000 revenue, 6 to 8 speaking, okay, and that's great. So how do you? So we narrow the scope a little bit. So if you hired me and I was to give you the expert treatment, I would say, okay, who's doing speaking events in 2017? Have you gathered this data? Have you made a list of people that are getting it on stage that can help you? And then as far as revenues, are you using sales funnels? Are you using client attraction strategies? Are you getting big coverage? Are you appealing to UK news stations? Like where are you being shown as an expert to get your brand out there?
That's the next stage. We had a meeting yesterday actually with my business partner. Is where can we get coverage? Where can we stand out and actually become more featured in terms of what we do? Because what we do is so niche about the whole removing unconscious limitations for people or leaders who wants to win more in their lives. No, not many people actually are that specific.
Yeah. Especially
in that niche, and working with the super consciousness, which is alchemy. And that moves on to with my leader, my mentor, even William Whitecloud. He's also in Las Vegas right now. And he's recording, he is the author of The Magician's Way and The Last Shaman. And at the moment, I think his book, The Magician's Way, is getting filmed to become a movie. So it's getting recorded right now in LA, in Las Vegas.
That's great.
So, you know, working with mentors like that would put us in the position of becoming a better leader, but also knowing that our work works. It gets people results. That's what it's been doing.
So what I would say, and this is something I've been working on, but I've had some really good traction with it. I would suggest a branded ebook that talks about removing limitations. This has a multiple effect. By creating this ebook, and we can talk offline, I can tell you exactly how I did this. By creating this ebook, you can set it up as your freebie. So not only do people have to enter their email to get it, it conveys you as an expert. Yeah.
We have one already.
Good.
It's out
I'd
there.
love to take a look at it.
Yeah, it's out there. And then the next we're looking to do is actually write a proper book.
Okay.
Where it's actually a proper fiction book. But in the story itself, we'll cover the unconscious limitations and the journey itself.
Yeah, the techniques. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff, man. You're a step ahead of me. That means you're doing it right.
Thank you. No, I appreciate that. So let's go back to go back to you now.
Absolutely.
Who were your first mentors in terms of when you started, you know, in the I'm sure being in the Air Force as well, you would have plenty of leaders that you probably look up to that.
Yeah, I had some Air Force leaders. It's a little different when I got out because I didn't know a lot of entrepreneurs that were military. But as I got older, my mentors started getting better, and I started learning. And dude, once I started the magazine, and I'm interviewing people from SEAL Team 6, and 28-time best-selling author Dr. Marshall Goldsmith. I start picking up stuff very fast. Mike Michalowicz, New York Times best-selling author. Nicholas Bailey, just all these people, and I started getting, very high-end mentors. But to answer your question, the early mentors, I just started with the basics. Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar. His early books are amazing. Yeah.
Awesome. Very similar to mine.
Yeah. It's I like Zig because he had a charm about him where he was very relationship based instead of sales based, and that's why people want to do business with him, because he was your friend. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the book that you're writing. Oh, you're writing. You finished. You're launching. Your new book that you're launching. Because you were telling me about this new book that you were launching. I was like, oh wow, what is it? So let's give it to them. What is this new book that you finished just now?
Oh, thank you for the intro. This is I took every technique that I have used personally for speed learning, and I identified the 16 best methods of learning. They are mix and match. You can take 3 to 4 of them to supercharge your results. And so I came out with the Next Level Supercharged.
Wow.
And it's got a lot of features that can help people to become the best at almost any job or skill. So I wanted to make sure that anybody at any level could pick it up. They could categorize what level they're at. So I have a 5-tier rating system where you can actually rate yourself where you're at a job or a skill. And this is actually the graphic for it. It's called the GMOS, Garcia Model of Skills Comprehension. So at the bottom you see awareness, where you just barely know something. At the top is an expert, which means that you're an innovator in your field. So once you have whatever it is you're trying to learn, you can you rate yourself where you're at, and then you have your 16 techniques for learning something. And then at the end of it, I have interactive worksheets that tell you exactly what techniques will help you learn it the best. So you can actually pick something you want to learn and use these worksheets to train yourself. And then to make it even better, I interviewed 5 celebrities that are enormous performers, really, really high names. So yeah, it's a great book. It's $15.99 on Amazon and Lulu.com. It's called The Next Level Supercharged, Dr. Rob Garcia. But I'm really excited about it. The official launch is this Tuesday.
Wow, awesome! We look forward to that. I'll make sure to put the link in the video as well, so they could go get that copy.
Thanks, man. Really appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you. And what would let's get some. I know you've been giving so many golden nuggets already about how people perform more, but for leaders that want to learn faster, what other methods? Those who are saying I need to have, they probably read an hour or two, but what's the best way to fit in their learning? Because people go, oh, you could listen to podcasts, you could speed, Audible and speed listen and all that. What would you recommend?
I'll give you 3 tips. If you were to throw me some CEO or a leader right now and said, make this person better in an hour, I would tell them, first of all, define their metric. Are they trying to get more sales? Are they trying to, get more employees? Are they trying to outfox a competitor? Are they trying to get a better PR strategy? Once you have your metric, then you have your goal for the year. Secondly, skills assessment of your resources and your people. So do you know what everyone on your team is good at? Are they communicating well as a team? What resources and, assets, money, what do you have going for you? What's your greatest? Do a SWOT analysis. What's your strengths? What's your weaknesses? The person that can manage all their resources is a very, very effective leader. And thirdly, I would say check out the best in industry. So who's the person in the absolute top of the industry? What are they doing? What habits are they doing you can emulate in order to be better at what you're doing? So that's my big 3.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that.
No problem. I'll send you a bill.
We'll talk about that later.
We'll settle up.
What now? You mentioned that you also you have a gift for my audience, which I appreciate that as well. Really appreciate that. What does that entail? Tell us about that little gift that you're generously offering us.
Absolutely, Jono. And this is a gift that I usually charge for. It is a professionally made ebook. It's like a little mini ebook PDF guide. This is called How to Speed Learn Anything. And it basically it's like a condensed version of The Next Level. I took 3 techniques and I made a fully illustrated PDF guide. So what I'm going to do for your audience, and this will help them with anything, school, business, whatever. I'm going to put this on my Dr. Rob Facebook page for 3 days for free. So all you guys have to do is go to Dr. Rob Garcia on Facebook, and it'll be sitting there. It'll just be a click Dropbox grab, and completely free to use. And my gift to you and your audience as a thank you for having me on today.
Really appreciate that. Thank you, Rob. Now, if there's any other last words you want to give to our leaders that's watching this, what's the next step? What's the, not next step, but like...
Parting wisdom?
Parting wisdom. That's the one. The last golden nugget that you have. I know you have many others, but what would you normally give out?
I would honestly say, the people that watch your show clearly are about growth and about removing their mental limits
and winning more.
To remove their intellectual limits. And I would just say 2 words to them. Be bolder. That's it. You really have to imagine yourself at a higher plateau, at a better level, not worrying about anything else. Don't give in to your fears. Don't give in to what you think you can do. Be bolder. That's it.
Nice. Appreciate that. Thank you, Rob.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thank you so much for having me. I had a fun time.
Thank you so much for this. I really appreciate your time and your golden nuggets that you've given us as well on this show. Guys, remember to subscribe to our show, Limit Break Lifestyle, and watch out for the next interview that I'm going to be having, because it's going to be full of experts and leaders who want to win more, people like Rob, who are always giving, their golden nuggets and taking out their time. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Not a problem. Have a great day, Jonah. Thank you.
You too. Take care.